Alright, just brewed up a nice cup of coffee. Thanks, Draco. Always love it when you make a nice cup of coffee. They're always the absolute best. I tell you what, getting back into YouTubing and hanging out with everyone is going to be one of the best things that I've ever done. But it'll be a really good thing. Looking forward to it. But let's go ahead and check out the news. Let's go ahead and see what's happening today. What the heck? Are you... freaking fairy Delphox? I freaking called it. I freaking knew it. This is gonna be a challenge. God freaking damn it. Why'd it have to be a fairy type? Listen, I'm the dragon guy. I don't like fairy types. Just get them all the way out of here, alright? Anyway, how's it going, everyone? Hope you're all fired up and ready to go for today's video. We have Delphox, the unrivaled Tera fairy type. My worst fears have come to pass. And unfortunately, we now have to deal with the freaking fox and this incredibly broken Tera type. What the actual... But don't worry about it, guys, because I have got you covered as always. We're going to go ahead and analyze Delphox. We're going to find out the best way on how to deal with it. And of course, address the best Pokemon that would be ideal for battling against it. So let's go ahead and cover its original typing. Delphox is a fire and psychic type that was introduced in Generation 6. And quite honestly, I've never, ever in my life used a Delphox because there was just a far more superior fire type starter to choose from. And of course the fact that you got access to Greninja as well, so there you go, I've said it. But now I think Delphox is here to give us a bit of revenge with the fairy typing, and quite honestly, this just feels like the holy trinity of type coverage that we're going to have to struggle and find a way around. It also gets a rather interesting ability in Magician, which allows Delphox to be able to steal our current held items. So it can steal stuff such as Life Orb or Assault Vest, and this can also play into our advantage, such as maybe giving it a Sticky Barb or a Black Sludge or even a Choice Scarf, but more of that in a bit. So just by looking at the base stats, it's heavily focusing on a special attacker, so it's unlikely that we're going to be getting any form of physical attacks like Flare Blitz, for example, or Zen Headbutt. So when we're making this guy, I just want you guys to be aware that I'm going to be focusing primarily on this special attack side of Delphox. Delphox also has some really good speeds, and its special defense is no laughing matter as well. So you would think that its lower defense stance is the direction that we need to go in. Well, kind of. So let's briefly talk about the moveset. In terms of special attacks, you can expect to see Dazzling Gleam. I don't think Delphox gets Moonblast, so thank goodness for that. But it still gets moves like Mystical Fire, which decreases our special attack stats, and there's Psychic, of course, just to round out the Fairy, Fire, and Psychic. It also gets access to Shadow Ball, Hyper Voice, or even Solar Beam if it's going to be able to set up this sunny day. And in terms of status moves, it gets access to Reflect and Light Screen to increase its defenses. It gets Will-O-Wisp to cripple our physical attackers. Sunny Day to make its fire attack stronger. It gets Roleplay, which allows it to copy the ability of one of our Pokemon. Unlikely that will come up. But it also gets access to Hypnosis to put us to sleep, as well as Charm to decrease our attack. And in terms of stat increase, it gets Agility to increase speed. It's unlikely that it's going to have it, but it also gets two very scary moves in Calm Mind and Nasty Plot. Yeah. Now, if we have a look at the Fairy Tera type, it is currently weak to two types, Steel and Poison. This is where things get tricky. If you remember Delphox's original typing, it is Fire and Psychic. Fire is excellent for dealing with Steel types, while Psychic is excellent for dealing with Poison types. Hence, it makes this kind of holy trinity where it is fantastic in terms of offense and is able to cover its own weaknesses. So we now need to find a way of applying damage with Steel and Poison while also trying to find a good secondary type to counter Fire and Psychic. Honestly guys, it doesn't look good for us. The odds are currently not in our favour. Let's have a look at our Steel typing first. Now there's 4 types that you can give to Steel to give it that cutting edge against the Fire type, Mystical Fire most likely. You've even got Fire, which makes the logical sense. You've got Water, you've got Rock, and you've got Dragon. Now, if memory serves me right, I do not believe that we have a Steel Fire, a Steel Water, a Steel Rock, or even a Steel Dragon in Scarlet and Violet. And if you have a look on the Poison side of things, we've got in Poison Dark, which does exist in a wide variety of forms, but there's also Poison Psychic. And right off the top of my head, I really honestly cannot think of a Poison Psychic type. I got nothing. I realistically have nothing. So, realistically, what does that give us? Game Freak, help! Help us out, please! But Game Freak has answered the call, and they have given us Pokemon Home compatibility with Scarlet and Violet. And they brought a whole bunch of friends with them. Before I go any further about Pokemon Home, I want to go ahead and give you guys an idea on the type of Pokemon that we could be bringing compared to the Pokemon that we have now been given through Pokemon Home. And it goes like this. First up, we have Blissey. Very good special defense, large amount of HP, and the best that Blissey is going to be able to do is set up Light Screen, Life Dew to keep the team healthy, Helping Hand for additional damage, and Thunder Wave for the paralysis, and even Leftovers and Light Clay to just increase our defenses and keep the Blissey nice and healthy. And next up you have Bronzong. You've got Light Screen, Flash Cannon, Metal Sound, and Calm Mind. And now you may be thinking, but Draconic, Bronzong's a Steel type. It does not do good against Fire type, and that is where its ability Heat Proof comes in handy, where it actually halves the damage taken from any fire moves. And of course, the hero returns once again. Spoink! Freaking Spoink just does not die! It just keeps on bouncing its way onto our list. It gets Light Screen, it gets Amnesia to increase its special defense, Helping Hand to help out the team, and even Snarl to decrease the special attack of the Delphox. And it gets Thick Fat, an ability that makes it a lot more resistant to, would you guess it, fire moves. And, you know, give the Spoink Eviolite and it is really, really good to go. My only issue with this one is the Magician ability of Delphox, which can steal the Eviolite from the Spoink. So, I really do hope Spoink can do a fantastic job here because it has been absolutely crazy in the previous Tera breakdowns, which have been like, I don't know, been a long time, Game Freak, alright? And we even have Goldengo making it onto this list, a Steel type with a very powerful move in Make It Rain, which can get even more stronger with the move Nasty Plot. And if you want to decrease the Delphox's special defense, you've even gotten Metal Sound. If you want to increase your own defenses, then you've got Light Screen. And as for the held item, you can choose whatever you want. Leftovers, Life Orb, Choice Specs, you name it. Goldengo will make full good use of him. And speaking of Goldengo, a completely unrelated topic, but I have to say, I love Game Freak, I love the Pokemon franchise. Been playing it for so many years, generation after generation. And I'll just go ahead and say that the shiny Gimmighoul event that they promoted has to be one of the worst, alright? When they've hit us with all of these problems with retracting some of all of these raids, such as the Iron Treads and the Great Tusk, and even the the grass starter that I cannot remember. Chestnut, there we go. They gave us Shiny Gimmighoul, which was great in its own, but they make the odds 1 in 4,000. That was a punch to the gut, and I'm very sorry, Game Freak, but that is not a good way to win your audience, alright? And this is coming from me, who's been a fan of you for years. That being said, I really do hope that you all got your shiny Gimmighouls. I unfortunately didn't because I didn't want to hunt it like a mad person. And I really do not hope that you got it from losers like this, alright? People who go ahead and hack their Pokemon just so that you can get it. And what did they get out of it? Money. Not a very good route to go in. People like this need to just go and get the hell off YouTube. Game Freak, there's lessons to be learned here. If you make sure that you provide the Pokemon, otherwise losers like this I'm very sorry, but we're going to be seeing a lot more of them, alright? Now, those were 4 Pokemon that I could find prior to Pokemon Home update that would be phenomenal for this event. I don't think they're good enough. Would you guys like to know what power creep is? Let's dive into what Game Freak has given us, all thanks to Pokemon Home. And up first might just be the most broken Pokemon for this event. It is Heatran, a legendary. There you go, we're finally getting legends into these events. It gets access to Flash Cannon, Metal Sound, Steel Beam for massive damage, and it even gets the move Magma Storm for additional tick damage. And it even gets a very powerful ability in Flash Fire, which makes it so that any fire attacks that are going to hit the Heatran, it basically doubles its damage. Psychic cannot hurt it, Fairy cannot hurt it, Fire just helps it. Heatran is the best Pokemon to bring to this event. But if you want to go ahead and show off and flex with your Dialga, then you can. Dialga, especially with the new Adamant Crystal that you can give it and bring it into an Origin form, is an incredibly powerful Pokemon. It gets Flash Cannon, Steel Beam, Thunder Wave for paralysis, and you can have a choice between Metal Burst or Protect. It really just depends on what you would prefer to go with. Ability Pressure, it's not really going to do too much, but Dialga is there if you do not have a Heatran. And if you don't have a Dialga, well, you can always go ahead and get yourself a Hisuian Goodra, and this is quite a package that we're bringing here. In terms of its moveset, you've got Acid Spray, and you're going to be hearing me say Acid Spray quite a lot, and it decreases the Delphox's special defense, which makes it very good for a move like Flash Cannon. You've even got Heavy Slam, which is a physical move that does base 120 damage. Basically the same amount of damage as Outrage. And then you've even got Life Dew to keep it and the rest of the team nice and healthy. So 3 Pokemon compared to the first 4 that we showcased. Yeah, you can see the power creep. And we ain't stopping yet. Legends Arceus has given us Arceus. And I cannot even begin to explain how broken Arceus is, so I'll go ahead and break it down piece by piece. This is Arceus Fire, and you can see its moves. It's got Judgment, which will be a fire attack. You've got Acid Spray, you've got Calm Mind to increase its special attack and special defense, and you've also got access to Recover. And the reason for Arceus Fire is because you don't want to be hit by Mystical Fire to decrease this Arceus' special attack. And it's more of a bulky rather than being a full-out aggressive. But if you really do want to get aggressive, then you can go with Arceus Poison. Now, yes, you are going to be at the mercy of Delphox's Psychic attack, but you will be able to start doing even more damage with a Poison Judgment attack. So between which Arceus form you want to go with, do you want to play it nice and safe with the fire, or do you want to go out more offensive with the poison? Calm Mind, Recover, Acid Spray, Judgment. These are your 4 core moves for Arceus, and whichever one that you go with is definitely going to be the best way to go. And before we go even further, I would just like to go ahead and take a little bit of your time to explain why Arceus is God. No joke, Arceus literally is God when it comes to these Tera Raid Dens. Arceus can change into any type it wants to fit the scenario. And it has a wide variety of moves. I already mentioned Acid Spray, Calm Mind, and even Recover, but the list just goes on even further. If it wants to increase its stats, you've got Cosmic Power, Sword Stance, Nasty Plot, Bulk Up, you freaking name it. If it wants to weaken our opponent, you can go with Will-O-Wisp, Snarl, even Chilling Water. If it wants to set up defenses for the whole team, it's got Reflect and Light Screen. If you want to give it speed control, there's Trick Room. And even beyond that, the move Judgment, which is a base 100 move, changes to the type of Arceus. Arceus is hands down the best Pokemon of all time. Now, if you are unlucky to not have access to all of these Pokemon, don't worry. There's still some very good ones to go with. All these Pokemon have access to the move Acid Spray, and it's very important that if you bring any of these Pokemon, you play a support role. Skuntank, Revavroom, Galarian Slowking, or even Galarian Slowbro if you don't have the King, Alolan Muck, Overqwell, all these Pokemon get access to Acid Spray, and they're able to help out their fellow Flash Cannon users with all their steel moves to do even more damage. I also think the Slowking is probably a lot more better, the Galarian Slowking, just because it has access to Heal Pulse. It's able to heal up its team whenever we are in a very difficult position. So there's a little something for you as well. And we have a whole list of honourable mentions. Now, all the Pokemon that I go ahead and mention on this list, some are good, some are bad, some may or may not pop up, but let's go ahead and run through them. Zacian, Behemoth Blade, that's all you have to say about it. Dachshund, it gets a well-baked body, I think that's the name of the ability. It's a really good ability, but in terms of the moveset, it's not that brilliant. There's Zamazenta, just Steel Behemoth Bash. You've got the Houndoom, Dark type, but the Fire type is able to make it a little bit more better. You've got the Fluttermane in the bank with Mystical Fire to decrease Delphox's special attack. You've got Arcanine, it's got access to Snarl. Delphox as well. Delphox has access to Mystical Fire, so a Delphox is good against another Delphox. Pelipper, Rain, it weakens Mystical Fire. Galarian Articuno, it's got a very powerful ability. When it's hit by a Mystical Fire, it will actually increase its own special attack by 2 stages. 1 step back, 2 steps forward. Corviknight, really good moves, but I just don't like its steel typing. Magearna, same story, but it does have Soul Heart as an ability. And it also gets Calm Mind, so this could be a very interesting one to use. Kyogre brings the rain, and Eternatus, it has the poison. So any of these could be good, but I feel like all those that we mentioned on the list prior, they're all a lot more better than all of these guys for this Delphox Tera raid then. Now it's time to talk strategy. Now in terms of Delphox's strategy, it's got quite a lot going for it. It can increase its own stats with Calm Mind and Nasty Plot. It can set up screens with Reflect and Light Screen. It can decrease our attack with a move such as Charm, or decrease our special attack with Mystical Fire. It has the ability to counter our counters, but we've already talked about the best Pokemon to bring. And Magician could create dangerous scenarios. If we have a very powerful item, Delphox might be able to steal it and put us into a very difficult scenario. And Hypnosis is something that exists that we also need to be very careful about. I have 3 strategies. There's Acid Spray, Dark Magician, and the one-hit KO. Let's talk about them. I've mentioned about it time and time again throughout this video, but Acid Spray is the best move to have. It decreases the special defense by 2 stages, making way for moves such as Flash Cannon to do even more damage. I also just noticed the typo right there, so I do apologize about that, but it's too late to go ahead and change it right now. If you don't have Acid Spray, you can also go ahead and use the move Metal Sound, which is... when the shields go up, Metal Sound doesn't do anything, but, budget move. It's a budget move. So let's go ahead and talk about the Dark Magician strategy. The ability of Delphox will steal a held item from us. We just need to make sure that we give Delphox an item that hurts it. And we have a very good variety of items. You can give it Black Sludge, which decreases health over time, Sticky Barb to decrease health over time. You've also got the option of giving it a choice Band or a choice Scarf to lock it into one move. You can even give it Toxic and Flame Orbs to decrease the health over time. And Assault Vest prevents it from using moves such as Calm Mind or Nasty Plot, or if you really are feeling risky, Life Orb. It'll do more damage, but it will chip away at the Delphox's HP. It's also important to note that Delphox will not be able to steal the Adamant Crystal or the Legend Plate from Dialga or Arceus, so bringing these items in are absolutely safe. You don't need to worry about it. When I say Legend Plate, I mean the Flame Plate or the Toxic Plate, but whatever plate works, I guess. And last but not least, let's talk about the one-hit KO. The one-hit KO is pretty easy. You use Acid Spray 3 times, and then you can use your Goldengo or Arceus to set up a Nasty Plot or a Calm Mind, and then, after 2 or 3 moves, when you're all fully set up, you can make it rain, with some poison or steel judgment. GG, no re, goodbye Delphox. But all of this requires the most important part of teamwork. So as long as you've got the right team and you've got everybody on board that knows what they're doing, there's your one-hit KO for you guys. Enjoy. And with that, there is our Delphox the Unrivaled guide. There was a lot to go over, and I think we need to thank Home for now being available for us to transfer all the Pokemon on over. I will be live this Saturday and Sunday doing the Delphox Tera raid event, and I'm also going to be live on the Wednesday getting our teams together to make sure that we have the one-hit KO ready, as well as any backup strategies that we have. And if you guys want to tune in for that, it will be absolutely fantastic to have you on board. Guys, I want to go ahead and say thank you all so very much for watching if you made it all the way to the end. There was definitely a lot to take on board, and this guide was not easy, but we've been planning it for a while now, considering the gap between Delphox and the previous one, which I think was the Chestnut. Guys, thanks for watching. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. Keep your fire burning. And I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye-bye.